Stand still. Your Excellency, guard of honor before you mounted by Rwanda Defense Forces with army band and section of Karapate, 178 men on parade, present and ready for inspection, Your Excellency. Major Obed Kaweho reporting, Your Excellency. National threat, present, arms. Your Excellency, guard of honor before you mounted by Rwanda Defense Forces with army band and section of Karapate, 178 men on parade, present and ready for inspection, Your Excellency. Major Obedi Kaweho reporting, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, this marks at the end of inspection. May I have your permission to carry on with guard of honor, Your Excellency?
Great content needs a great audience, like your boss needs validation.
To the people of both nations a deeper understanding of what these agreements entail. For example, in education, we know that Kenya is undergoing a new CBC system. How does Rwanda engage with Kenya on such grounds? Thank you.
It is to both of us. Excellency may start.
The details of the relationship between our two countries, and especially in the context of the signing of the agreements, all the way from agreements on cooperatives and how we can share experience on how to consolidate the cooperative movement, how we will benefit from the experience in Rwanda and the shared experience in Kenya, how to build platforms using ICT, for example, on the evolution of credit management, like in the case of the Hustler Fund, which you are aware about, and how we can bring ICT into the middle of organizing our cooperative movement and also leveraging technology to access financing in the whole of that ecosystem. On matters education, we share a background, both as Kenya and Rwanda, and our reform of the education system that is underway in Kenya, that is now being spearheaded by the presidential party, which I appointed, will share a lot of experience on many issues, including transition from primary school, junior secondary school into university, and especially the big challenge of financing university education that has serious challenges. We are going to share experience on how we can make education much more relevant. Our two referral hospitals, the largest referral hospital in Rwanda and the largest referral hospital in Kenya, again, for us to share experience in that space and also to share facilities where necessary. You may want to know, for example, that Kenya benefited from support from Rwanda when I called His Excellency, and he was gracious enough to give us their ICT platform for VAT management. And as a result of that platform that Rwanda shared with Kenya, we have seen improvement in our VAT collection. It's in that context that we are signing some of these MOUs so that it becomes much more easy for us to share experience, share resources, and even share technology for the better management of our economies and our countries.
Well, I just add to what the president has just well elaborated in terms of the MOUs under the JPC. It was just a framework. I think many of the things really speak for themselves. It's a framework that will help us identify which key areas of interest to both countries where we can cooperate and add value and continue. What the sectors mentioned are not the only ones. There are more that have been ongoing or more that will come where that cooperation is going to be very helpful. And it is about learning from each other, from learning from different experiences. In fact, Mr. President, and I'm sure it is of interest to the audience, the many thousands of Kenyans who live here, we are happy that they are here. Many things they are doing for themselves. But in the end, what they are doing for themselves is also beneficial to the country, to the people of Rwanda, and In fact, for example, some of them are teachers, so where we have shortage of capacity. Some will be doctors, others work in the hospitality sector. So they have even helped fill the gaps that exist in our own systems. Because of where we have come from, we didn't have, in fact, and by the way, they have been here for a long time. They've been here significantly here. They started being here maybe in the year 2000, but even slightly before that. And at that time, we had no capacity in this country in all sorts of ways, in any sector here. So the Kenyans mainly and other East Africans came here to do what they know how to. In that sense, they benefited, we benefited. And this is really what is being elaborated in these MOUs and the cooperation and the relationship we have between Rwanda and Kenya. So this is just a smaller part, in actual fact, of the big thing we have to do.
Thank you. Let's have a second question from Sophie.
My apologies, I'm not going to stand because I'll disturb the cameras
okay.
because
No
some
worries,
of them are live.
no worries.
My name is Sophie Mkwena from the South African Broadcasting Corporation, SABC. It's an opportunity that comes once, therefore I have just 3 questions to both the leaders. The issue of the conflict in the Great Lakes region in the DRC, it is of a concern not only to the 2 countries, but generally including South Africa. How can this matter be resolved? And then the second question is in relation to President Ruto. Back at home, are we likely to see another handshake? I'm saying here in relation to your announcement on Sunday, if my memory serves me well, that you are willing to engage the opposition. And then finally, President Kagame, ahead of the commemoration of the genocide, is the international community doing enough to deal with issues of conflict around the world, learning from what transpired in Rwanda in 1994, when the world looked away? I remember former President Mbeki saying, your party even reached out to the ANC then before they became government, but unfortunately they were busy with elections. Are we doing enough as the global community to avoid this conflict, the war in Ukraine, Palestine, and all those flashpoints? Thank you so much.
That will be loaded. You want to go first? You wish.
Okay, let me say the following. On the matter of DRC, Eastern DRC, and the challenges of security in Eastern DRC, this is a collective concern of us as a region. The heads of state did take a decision that EAC must provide leadership in sorting out the challenges in Eastern DRC, especially after DRC joined the EAC. The good news, the positive news, is that the last 1 month has seen a lot of positive development around the challenge of security in Eastern DRC. We now have, joining the Kenyan forces that have been there for the last almost 5-6 months, Burundi have now come in, Uganda have now come in, and forces also possibly from Angola have come to support the whole effort of stabilizing Eastern DRC, providing security for especially vulnerable people, ensuring that we manage the challenges of security that continue to lead to loss of life, gender-based violence, and many other issues around children who cannot go to school, and children that are displaced, and hundreds of thousands of people that live in camps. Because of the buildup of forces from different countries, there has also been generally a movement even by the armed groups in Eastern DRC to respect the cessation of hostilities, to also abide by the cantonment areas. We've seen a lot of movement in that direction. So we are confident that with this greater understanding and coming together, and then I want to thank the heads of state of EAC for providing leadership in this area. And we are working together to see to it that we stabilize Eastern DRC so that Congo can have peaceful elections and they can continue to enjoy their country. On the issues of Kenya, thank you very much for asking. We believe we are a democratic nation. In fact, possibly the largest democracy in our region. And we value, and we, thank you very much, Mr. President. I think he realized I was struggling. As I said, we are a democratic country. We went into elections in August last year. Highly competitive election, very peaceful election, the best acclaimed outcome ever, an election that dealt a big blow to ethnicity, that election was devoid of any ethnic propaganda or any ethnic persuasions. Kenyans voted, and the outcome of that election was acclaimed by all the people who went through that journey with us, including observers, both domestic and also foreign. Subsequently, somehow the opposition, after 5 months, decided to make a claim that they were told by a whistleblower that possibly the results were different. They haven't been good enough to tell us who the whistleblower is and how they arrived at a different set of results than one that were released by our Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. However, as I said on Sunday, in times like this, it is not a question of who is right and who is wrong. In times like this, you have to put your house in order. And as president, I owe it to the people of Kenya to provide leadership. And on Sunday, I did ask the opposition to reconsider the demonstrations that they had undertaken, because protests and demonstrations are provided for in our constitution. But the protests and demonstrations were acquiring an ugly, violent turn that was destroying property, putting a lot of lives into risk, causing a lot of unnecessary chaos. And it was time for them to reconsider those demonstrations. I did offer them that whatever issues that they had, there was democratic, constitutional, legal channels of raising those issues using the platform of parliament in a bipartisan manner. And that is the offer I made to the opposition. You asked me a direct question whether there will be a handshake because of this situation. I want to tell you, there will be no handshake. But there will be an engagement in Parliament on the issues that have been raised. Those that Parliament can resolve, they will be resolved. And when I say there will be no handshake,